If you don't have a database just yet, start building one today.
The way you should be positioning your content is so that your audience wants to take the natural next step to solve a problem that they have.
You should be absolutely targeted and intentional with the guest of your show.
Success is always, I swear, just over the hump. Just after that one next episode, we have seen
Welcome, legends, to Podcast Marketing Secrets,
where we share all of the tactics and strategies from the #1 podcasting agency
on how to launch, grow, manage, and monetize a successful, high-converting podcast.
Let's take your business and content to the next level.
10 podcasting mistakes in under 10 minutes.
The first podcasting mistake that you should not be making is that you're posting more often with the wrong strategy. We've said it time and time again. If the strategy is not correct, you're not going to attract the ideal audience, which is not going to help you sell more of your back-end offer. Number 2,
sharing back quality video and audio. Nobody wants to be consuming a video podcast that first has terrible audio quality. So make sure you're investing into some level of gear that not only is going to create a better experience for your dream customers and listeners, but also will keep them coming back and help you stand out in your market, because most people are just creating poor content with their iPhones. Yeah, phones are good these days if you have the right lighting and different technical gear that can help you elevate the quality a bit, but invest into your podcast to make it better, as well as camera gear, of course, that is just going to allow you to look absolutely professional. And then the repurposing of that content is also going to be elite. Point number 3.
Stop wasting time with your podcast. You might have noticed at the start of this podcast that we jumped straight in. There was an intention behind that because we don't want to waste your time. You're not going to sit through majority of a podcast that is going on tangents, talking about irrelevant things, or taking time to get to the point. Because especially if you have an educational based podcast, people are there for the education. They're there for the value. So ensure that, especially at the start of your podcast, but also throughout, you're really landing the point. You're really ensuring that any type of sidetracks or tangents are coming to a conclusion or a point, but ultimately just stop wasting time. What's the next one, Nels?
Be careful with inside jokes.
Yeah.
In most cases, you want to try to avoid this. However, it can be good at times having some sort of theme or story that keeps coming back, and your loyal listeners and fan base actually knows the story. They feel like they're a part of this secret club almost. But be careful doing it too much or go overboard with this, because nobody also likes to jump into getting value or being a part of a community or listening to someone, and they can't get all the inside jokes that are happening, or they don't even know where to go in order to get the context that they need. What's the next one, Kat?
Be very careful with your selection of podcast ads. So that mainly relates to your mid-roll ads and their alignment with your podcasting strategy and your audience. There's nothing worse than you're listening to a podcast and then you hear a random ad and it has absolutely no relevance to you whatsoever. Firstly, that's not actually going to result in any type of conversions for either your backend or for your sponsor's backend. So ultimately, it's going to result in maybe you losing them because you're not getting any results, okay? But also it'll seem disingenuous to your audience. So just ensure that if you're leveraging ads for your podcast, firstly, you're keeping them nice, short, and punchy, but also super relevant. Because if an ad partnership is in correct alignment, then it should not just be beneficial for the podcaster, the sponsor, it should also be beneficial for the audience. What's the next one, Nels?
Thinking that you need guests for your podcast. This is a terrible misconception, because when people think of podcasts, they think of two people, just like we're doing here right now, a host and a co-host. In many cases, that's not what you should be doing as an authority figure or an expert. You should be doing solo style episodes. So don't think that you need guests if you're trying to launch a podcast. And the next mistake that comes with that particular scenario is trying to get any guest just because they have a big audience of some level of fame online. You should be absolutely targeted and intentional with the guest of your show. That's something that we help our podcast partners do, getting the right type of podcast guests, high profile as well collaborations that it requires its own tactic in order to even get these people to want to come on your podcast. And many times as an authority, you actually want to focus on this specific type of guest, which is your customers, happy customers.
Oh, yeah.
These are essentially testimonials masked as a podcast episode. Super high leverage if you're trying to generate sales assets and more conversions out of your podcast. What's the next one?
The worst thing you can do as a podcaster is give up on your podcast just before it turns into a success. We can confidently say, because we've seen both sides of this, success is always, I swear, just over the hump. Just after that one next episode, we have seen partners, unfortunately, give up too early when they were on the cusp. And we've also seen the opposite. The ones that, even though they might have been unsure, hung in there, trusted the advice of us, and they are seeing insane results now. With podcasting, honestly, it is reps in the gym, it's time in the bank, it is consistency. And often it is just a few episodes away from you actually launching to where you want to be, into that success, okay? So the worst thing you can do is give up too early. If something's not working, look at the strategy, look at anything else, but certainly don't give up, because if you do, you're going to be right back to ground zero.
The next mistake is not planning your podcast episodes. And to give you a perfect example with that, we know everything when it comes to podcasting, content creation, social media, marketing, and how all these things connect in order to basically generate results for business owners. And even then, before doing the shoot, we do our pre-shoot meeting with content that has been researched or objections that we have gotten on the sales process or sales assets that we need to generate in order to continue to feed our sales process in itself, or questions that we're getting from our dream customers online that we know we need to be addressing, or education that we need to be providing in order to nurture potential customers. The same exact thing will happen to your particular podcast. Plan your episodes if you want to see better results from it. Next one.
The next mistake that we see in podcasting is the inappropriate use of call to actions, of CTAs. If you're leveraging your podcast to try to sell more of your product or service on the back end, the way you should be positioning your content is so that your audience wants to take the natural next step to solve a problem that they have. And that's where your CTA comes in. You're laying the pavers for them to want to take that natural next step. And so your call to action is your opportunity for you to tell them what that next step is, for how you can continue to help them, okay? So you want to make sure that you're doing this both verbally in your podcast at the end, but also can be throughout. The other section where you want to include your CTA is in your podcast description or your show notes. So ensuring that you're presenting that solution on each of those avenues, both verbal and also written. What's the next one?
And the last mistake that we're covering is not leveraging an email database. If you have already some level of previous customers or leads that you have gotten and they're all in a database, you should be maximizing the content that you're making of your podcast with newsletters that then, guess what, not only will drive more traffic to new episodes, but also you will get it in front of the right people. And if you have your audiences segmented, where you might have people that haven't bought yet from you, so you know what type of content will be better served for those people in the database compared to people that have bought from you and you're looking to ascend them in the value ladder of your different offers, okay? So it all comes down to make sure you're maximizing your podcast content, that not only to make viral short form videos and going on the audio and video platforms, but also create newsletters so that you can truly reach your potential customer across every single vehicle and platform that they're in. And if you don't have a database just yet, start building one today, ideally with some sort of lead magnet so that people want to exchange their details with you, and you can still put that link on your social media description, show notes, links, and essentially drive that audience or viewers straight into your database so that you can continue to then serve the podcast content in it.
So, Nelson, given I just highlighted the importance of a call to action and presenting the solution, if somebody's listening to this podcast and they're thinking to themselves, if somebody's listening to this podcast and they have a podcast and they've made some of the mistakes that we've highlighted here, how can we actually help them?
If you're a founder, business owner that is looking to become an authority in your space, you maybe have an existing podcast, or maybe you've been thinking about one, or you have some sort of content strategy, but it's not working. You're not seeing the results that you want to. You're not generating conversions, and you want to get premium leads for your backend offer. You want consistent, better ad creatives. You want better paid marketing performance. You want omnipresence. You want to be growing month over month. There is a chance we might be able to help. There's a link down below for you to book a viral podcast system demo. We have many different podcast systems depending on where exactly you're in your business journey. So chances are we will be able to help. There is an application. We can't work with every single business, unfortunately, just yet. Don't worry. We'll be working on solutions to help any business across the entire planet. But right now there is an application. Go and see if you qualify. And if you do, we will give you a free viral podcast system demo. But till then, we'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you for joining us on Podcast Marketing Secrets. If you found value in this episode, the best way you can support us in continuing to deliver this content to you is by giving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube. Now, if you're keen to connect with us, we are at Vibez Creative on all your other social media platforms. Please send us your questions, engage with us, let us know what you want to hear about next on the podcast, and we'll be sure to create content around that.
And if you're interested in partnering with us for the highest level of support for you to be able to launch, grow, manage, and monetize a successful podcast for your business or your personal brand, we offer different levels of support, starting from our services, one-on-one coaching, as well as our completely done-for-you system. So if you're interested in finding out more, book a call with our team down in the description below.